friends, as promised, I'm going to be making this video on the different bipolar medications that I have taken basically throughout my time since I was diagnosed. That's kind of a hefty list, maybe not as many as other people have taken in the past because I know that people are on a lot of different stuff. But I'm going to be talking about like gabapentin, Lamictal, Lithium, Depakote, a bunch of others, and they're mainly anticonvulsants, which are also used for seizures, and then antipsychotics, which are also used for schizophrenia. So today I'm going to just be going through all of those and talking about like the side effects I experience, as well as like a few other ones that you can experience. Of course, I'm not going to go into all of the stuff that there is because I looked through it. There's so many for each that would take forever, but I wanted to share with you the general experiences I had. And if you wanted to find more about a specific medication that you are taking or thinking about taking, you can always look on drugs.com, which is what I used. It tells you a lot of different stuff that's important about the medications you're taking, and it tells you like interactions with other medications and other like foods and stuff, so that can be helpful. If you're interested in learning more about this topic and anything else about bipolar, I suggest you subscribe to my channel. But let's begin. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is lithium, and I know that in the past this has been used a lot, but has kind of been decreasing in use more recently because of like the long-term side effects. And I've seen this firsthand in like the nursing home that I used to work at. It was just like kind of not great for the older people that had used lithium long term. But lithium affects the flow of sodium in your body and controls the manic episodes of bipolar. So not necessarily the depression side, but it like helps with the what I just said, manic episodes and basically all of that. But you have to be careful because it can be very toxic if you have more than you should in your system. And the toxicity level can be really close to the therapeutic level. So you really got to be careful like when you're taking it and if you're taking the right amount, because a little too much can make you like really out of it and can really be bad for you. I have read that lithium can increase chances of dehydration, so you got to make sure you're always drinking a lot of water and all that good stuff. The therapeutic level for this is like 900 to 1200 milligrams per day, usually split up into multiple doses. It can be used up to like 18,000 milligrams per day, but usually they keep it below that. So some of the side effects that I read, I'm gonna read this right now, were like lightheadedness, dizziness, low sodium level, dehydration, and increased, sorry, I can't even read my own handwriting, increased pressure in, increased pressure in skull. Sorry. So like I guess like you can feel like a little headachiness, like there's a lot of pressure in your head. And that was lithium. I think my experiences with lithium were kind of short-lived. I did not really experience success with it. I was taking it, I think, with something else. I don't remember exactly what I was taking with it at the time. Maybe gabapentin, but like it didn't really work out for me, and I ended up switching off it pretty quick because I think I had a manic episode while taking it, and then we were like, clearly that's not working. But there is something I want to say that's like you should be careful of, because I feel like me and my doctor kind of fell victim to this is that when a manic episode pushes through like the medication that you're taking, it doesn't necessarily mean that the medication isn't working. It could have been like other things going on. I don't think that medications take you all the way there. You still got to be careful about like your daily habits, like eating and sleeping. I know sleeping is a big one for me, and like just all that stuff, like exercising and all the basic stuff that you need. So it's not necessarily that the medication isn't working, but that being said, we did switch off Lithium pretty quick, and I also switched off Depakote really quick, which is the next one I'm going to talk about. Depakote, or it could also be called valproate, is used to treat seizures as well because it's also an anticonvulsant. Well, just kidding, not also. The other one was not an anticonvulsant. That was just like a separate thing used for only bipolar, and it was named like an anti-manic agent. So my bad, not also a convulsant. But a lot of the next ones that I'm going to be mentioning are anticonvulsants, and then I'm going to end with the antipsychotics. So Depakote. Besides what I said about the seizure disorders and also prevents migraines, it can be prescribed for that in adults, but it's used to treat manic episodes as well. And one thing that I didn't know about this when I started taking it, and was kind of like wishing I had known, because I probably wouldn't have decided to try it if it worked. Anyway, you can't take Depakote while you're pregnant. And I know that's only applicable to like women, but if you're watching this and that applies to you, be careful with starting that if you're planning on getting pregnant soon, because if you find that it works and you're gonna be like really, I guess, upset when you are stable and then you realize that you can't take it while you're pregnant, that can be an issue. I experienced this with Depakote. I lost some hair, and it wasn't like significant amounts at a time, but like I could tell that my like head of hair was not as thick as it was before. And there are a lot of other side effects too. If you're taking this or are thinking about taking it, you should probably look on the website drugs.com, like I mentioned before, because there's just a lot of things that aren't covered in this video, but I just wanted to go quickly through everything that I've taken. So Depakote, I got off that pretty quickly. I think it was just kind of a half-hearted attempt to try a new medication that ended up not really working. I had a manic episode through that one too, and I think I mentioned hair loss, and he was like, well, we don't want you to lose hair, and then took me off of it. I don't know, it kind of felt like a weird reason to just like randomly take me off of it right away, but that's what happened. The next one is an anticonvulsant as well, and that one's Lamictal or Lamotrigine. I've heard a lot of people use Lamictal for their bipolar. It's used for, or it delays mood episodes for people with bipolar disorder. I don't know why they chose to use the word delay in the thing that I was looking up. I've heard it also as a mood stabilizer, but I don't know like why they use delay, because that doesn't seem like it would be super great if it was just delaying. But I was taking this for a while, and gotta say, I stopped taking it because I kept having manic episodes with it, and in combination with other medications. I took it with Latuda, I took it with Trileptal, I took it with Olanzapine, and it just wasn't really doing anything. So my doctor was like, yeah, we'll just stop taking it because, it hasn't been helping this whole time. And I was on that for probably years. Um, One thing to note is that I took it when I was in like middle school, like once or twice, and I feel like it made me really like paranoid and hyper aware to sounds, and it was really scary as like a young person and not knowing what that kind of thing was, not really being self-aware at all. I was just freaking out about like little sounds, like taps, like from outside, or like the house settling or whatever. Like I would be freaking out about it and being like, there's someone outside or something like that. So that's something to be aware of. I know that like Lamictal works for a lot of people though, and it might have just been because I was really young and it was affecting me in different ways. But that was Lamictal for me. Um, One thing to note on Lamictal is that you can develop skin rashes. I think I experienced like more pimples with Lamictal. Like it was pretty bad. Like my whole face was like a mess. Um, but especially in combination with Depakote, which is the one I just described, it can like cause a lot of skin rashes. It also caused me to have a little bit of a dry mouth, and that's not fun for me because like in the morning when I have a dry mouth, it just like makes me not want to eat. It makes me like gag when I'm brushing my teeth and stuff. It's just not fun. But I did that for a while. It did not really work out for me though, so we stopped that as well. Um, so other anticonvulsants could affect the way that Lamictal works. So you should make sure that you're not taking multiple with Lamictal, and also let your doctor know if you are already taking an anticonvulsant while you are about to take Lamictal. Um, Also, antibiotics, birth control pills, and HIV medications can interact weirdly with Lamictal. So be careful and also mention those to your doctor. The last anticonvulsant that I'm going to be mentioning is Trileptal. I took this one when I was like in middle school, and I took it in liquid form actually to start. It wasn't doing a lot for me at the time, but it could have just been that I was really new to the whole bipolar thing and wasn't taking care of myself at the same time, was not self-aware, and the medication can only do so much. So that was one thing. One thing with Trileptal is you cannot stop taking Trileptal suddenly, and that is like applicable to really most medications, but this one specifically mentioned that like do not do that suddenly because it can cause seizures and whatever else. Do not drink this with or do not drink alcohol with this. Okay, I was like thinking it was liquid form, and then I was like combining that, but you can take pill form of Trileptal as well, but don't drink alcohol while you're taking Trileptal. And also many drugs interact with Trileptal, so be careful like what you're taking in combination with it. Your doctor should know, so just make sure your doctor is aware of everything you're taking. Trileptal is typically used as a mood stabilizer, so it's not like only for mania or depression, but I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of big changes or stability with Trileptal. I used it like in middle school, and then I think once again later in life, but it didn't really work, so we got off of that. Um I'm gonna get into the antipsychotics now, but I'm gonna start with the one I hated the most, and that's Olanzapine. Um, I hated Olanzapine mostly because it made me super hungry and made me gain weight really fast. So I gained like 20 or more pounds in like a few months. So that wasn't fun. And I've heard that with a lot of other people that it caused them weight gain. So that is something to be careful about if you care about your weight a lot. Just keep that in mind. That also caused me to have dry mouth and avoid drinking alcohol with this as well. Um, because this is an antipsychotic, it can also be used to treat like schizophrenia, but it's used for bipolar disorder as well. I know I went a little out of order there, but um, with a lot of antipsychotics, it seems like you can get orthostatic hypotension, which is like when you get low blood pressure when you stand up too quickly, or like, from lying position or sitting position, when you get up and you feel like really dizzy and stuff. That's orthostatic hypotension, and I've experienced this so much recently. I thought it was normal, but it's like related to a lot of medications that I've taken. So a lot of the ones I'm going to mention next, like Abilify and Latuda, it all says like be careful when you're standing up too quickly because you can get really dizzy and fall. I've never fallen, but I have like my vision has gone like black, and then I'm like just standing there waiting for it to go away, holding onto a wall or anything. But like if I'm not holding onto anything, I can get like really dizzy and just like fall over. But that's something to be careful of because I personally have never fallen, but I definitely could because I feel like I am going to. So, yeah. Also, with a lot of antipsychotics, it's easier to become overheated and for some of them, even like sensitive to cold. So, with that, you got to make sure that you're staying hydrated and kind of like be careful when you're exercising or being in hot weather. I'm gonna go on to Latuda next and then end with Abilify, which is the one I'm taking now. But with Latuda, it treats schizophrenia and episodes of depression in bipolar disorder. I took Latuda like around 2018 when it was, or 2019 maybe. It was still pretty new then, and I didn't know that it only treated like depression because even though I do have problems with depression, I feel like I have more problems with mania disrupting my life. But this again, you could get orthostatic hypotension and you're more sensitive to extreme temperatures. Do not drink alcohol with Latuda, and that could cause like really dangerous side effects. I didn't read all of them, but believe them when they say it causes dangerous side effects because you want to be on the safe side. Unfortunately, Latuda has to be taken with food, and that's something that I really didn't like because sometimes when I'd be out eating dinner, I would come back and then be like, well, I have to eat again, I'm not hungry, and that at that time I was having a lot of trouble eating in the first place. And then another thing was I would feel like nauseous when I would take Latuda, even when I was taking it with food. And it had to be like, there was a sweet spot for me. I think it was like if I took it right, like not right after, like 10-15 minutes after I took my pill, then wait, I said that wrong. If I took my pill 10 to 15 minutes after eating, it would feel good, but like there was some times in there when I would still feel nauseous. So I hadn't perfected that, but I was really annoyed about having like the nausea when taking that pill. I don't know if this is the same for everyone, probably not, but that's something that I experienced. And yeah, I also am not taking that anymore because it didn't really work. My mania still pushed through that. I don't really know like if any of these would have worked long term if I had taken them more with healthy lifestyle habits, but that's besides of like what I'm able to like analyze right now. Yeah, and I'm gonna end with Abilify. This also treats schizophrenia. It's a mood stabilizer for bipolar 1 disorder, and it can also be used for major depressive disorder as a antidepressant. Also avoid drinking alcohol with these. I would just say with antipsychotics in general, do not drink alcohol with it because bad things can happen. Again, orthostatic hypotension, that is what is happening to me every time I like am lying down and then I stand up. I get like dizzy and lightheaded. So that is like tolerable, I'll say, but if like you're older and more at risk for falls and stuff like that, I would recommend probably like looking into something else or getting up really slowly so that doesn't happen. Again, more sensitive to very hot conditions. So watch for dehydration and just like being overheated in general on this medication and other antipsychotics. What I don't like about this, even though it works really well for me keeping like the mania away so far, is that I get emotionally flat sometimes and I can't feel things to the extent that I know I should be, like excitement or sadness or stuff like that. Like I don't really feel that as deeply as I wish I could, honestly. Like I know some people are like, oh, I don't want to feel these strong emotions sort of thing, but I was always really like attached to them, I guess. And when I should be excited about something, I want to feel excited. I don't want to feel just like flat and kind of, you know, just carefree, I guess. But yeah, that is something that I deal with a lot. And especially when I increase the dose or start on it again, like it's just not really a good time. I would say right now it's better, but I still like don't really get excited or feel like really happy. Like I know that I could if I wasn't taking it, but I gotta say it is worth it for the stability. Also with a lot of these antipsychotics. With antipsychotics, you have to take blood tests a lot and like sometimes do an EKG. They like to make sure that these medications aren't really like affecting your body in negative ways. And I know that like cholesterol and like white blood count and stuff like that can be affected by these medications, among other things. I'm just naming like a couple of things, but like anything can happen like with your body in reaction to these medications because honestly, like these are things that are man-made and we're just putting it into our body. So we want to make sure that we're having the safe amount of all the things in our blood and all that stuff. And yeah, I think that's all I have for this video. I took a lot of notes for this and I wanted to make sure that I was like sharing my experiences and sharing the different medications that I was taking. I will like probably post more about individual medications. But that was just the whole thing. If you're still here, you our champ. This is a long video and I know it wasn't like terribly interesting or anything, but those were all the medications that I took. Feel free to message with your experiences, or comment, I mean, with your experiences with any of those medications or other medications for bipolar or anything else that you experience with mental health. If you made it this far and haven't subscribed, I would say subscribe and also like if you haven't already. So I will see you guys all next week with another video, and see you later.